Tonight, this is our first work session for our school board budget for 2018-2019 school year. And we want to give everybody an opportunity to get an overview, and then we will begin looking at some matters a little more detail in some further meetings. But Ms. Sneed Johnson, I'll turn the floor over to you if you'd like to kind of walk us through our packet tonight. And
Yes.
We'll also need to schedule a public hearing.
Yes, and we will need to schedule
and we'll
that.
schedule that public hearing as well, but that will be after we have a few more meetings. You're correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And I also want to remind everyone that we do have a meeting next week, January 30th, at 5 o'clock with the city council. I have not heard of a date change, and that might change some of the things we need to look at as we go through our budget. So the auditors will be present, and we will hear a report and see where we go from there. So as far as I know, still 5 o'clock in city council chambers.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, so what we've done, Rebecca and I have put together, with a lot of people's help in the office, a notebook. Everybody's notebook is the same. We put in some things that you've already been given in other times, and we put in some new things. And I'd like to just suggest that tonight we go through each section. I've put a notepad in everybody's, in case you want to take some notes as we go.
Thank you.
And then we will have some discussion, and Rebecca has some things she'll say as we go through each section, and I will as well. First, I'd like to call your attention to, in your left-hand pocket, this afternoon we got information from Mr. Spangler about the JRTC budget for the 2018-19 school year. It's based upon a 3-year average. Percentage has increased by 1.13%. So we will still be working on this amount of money until our March report is done. So he has highlighted for us what we will be paying this year, which is $155,609 towards the JRTC budget. And he does estimate that we could be asked to pay $174,035 for next school year, which is an increase of approximately $15,000. That is not in tonight.
The only thing that's in the budget currently is $148,000.
So that is something that we will have to rework. We got it at about $154,000, as you can see today. He also, if you look after his email to me, he does put a budget worksheet that he worked up for this year, for 18-19 on 122. He's outlined the revenues that he expects us to bring in, and Alleghany County's share and Covington's share of the JRTC operating budget, the other revenues, and this is just, again, preliminary with his thinking. And the back sheet is something those individuals who are on the board, you, Ms. Bennett, Mr. Baker, and Mr. Clemens, have seen about the balance brought forward from prior years, and how part of that money was used to fund a new position at JRTC this school year, and how some of it may be carried over, and what you all have suggested be done with that money. So all of this is brand new information that we need to continue to explore and add to our budget.
Did Alleghany take theirs back, or did we? I can't remember. I remember
They
the
were
whole.
taking back a portion of theirs. We wanted to retain our portion.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
been
we
JRTC.
left our
We
portion
left
there,
ours.
but they took back a
Yes.
percentage
They
of
did.
theirs.
Yes.
Yes, they
Yes.
did.
Okay.
And
This
we
was
were-
excess funding that were, in essence, was held in somewhat like a working capital type scenario, extra money to be utilized, and had been retained for some time. And there was discussion last year about dispersing it back to the various school systems. We did not want to disperse ours back. We wanted to leave ours there and continue to use that funding toward JRTC activities. The county chose that they would like to return some of it to their regular budget and leave a portion. And I don't remember the specific
don't
figures.
I don't either.
Do you remember?
No. I just
Do you
remember
Mr. Clements?
we did
What
that.
percentage they retained?
In your left-hand pocket, we got information from Mr. Spangler today about our JRTC budget.
I just think we came to the conclusion, instead of moving money back and forth, it just made sense to leave it where it was at.
Yeah.
because
We felt comfortable. just
we were
leaving
going to
it.
designate a certain portion anyway, so.
Okay.
Correct.
So I am sure that at each monthly meeting we go to at JRTC, we'll be hearing more about what it is going to cost us to put in our budget to operate JRTC next
Is this
quarter.
Mr. Spangler's estimation based
Yes.
on this normal
Yes.
formula? This is what where it is currently?
Yes.
Based on, for 2018-19, based on the current percentages?
Yes. And that could change, but he thinks that's where it's going to stand
Okay.
based upon the 3-year average.
Even though he's showing an estimate, potentially could be a little bit higher than that.
Well, I mean, there was a new program added.
Yes.
And we had some more students
students.
participate.
Yeah, so,
And he did not yet have, because of snow, how many children were showing up for the second semester at our last meeting.
That's right.
So we should have that report in February. So this is also a work in progress
Okay.
for us.
So is that excess monies reflected in the budget somewhere?
At JRTC.
right.
Not-
We didn't,
Not enough.
We've already
elected
given
not
the funds.
to
Okay.
receive that back.
Okay, but at JRTC?
Right.
It's in JRTC's budget.
Okay.
We also hope that that could possibly be used to fund a new
Yeah,
program
that's right.
maybe.
Okay.
So we felt it was, while we could always use it, it was best to leave it where it was if we could.
Well, the computer program's gonna grow.
Yes.
Correct.
So they're gonna add additional
We were looking at the future
courses.
Okay.
aspects and knowing that with that particular growth of those programs is going to require more funding. So if the
Yeah.
funding is already there, then let's leave it there and
Most
utilize it as opposed to taking
Yeah.
it back and then having to turn
Yeah.
around and give it right back.
And utilize it somewhere else.
So we will rework a budget with this added in, but we
Okay.
didn't have time this afternoon. So if it's all right with you, let's start with the tabs and go through the notebook. And Rebecca may have notes and I may have comments to make. I've highlighted some things. The first tab is about the governor's budget. And on December 21st, I sent you our first set of documents about Governor McAuliffe's 18 to 20 biennial budget. There's a superintendent's memo that outlines the proposed budget items, which will the 2018 General Assembly will consider as House Bill and Senate Bill 30. We've got those documents for you. There's another superintendent's memo, 32417, which outlines the caboose bill. That can be found behind these documents. And what Rebecca had done after she saw both of these documents, she did a state revenue comparison for Covington City Schools based upon an ADM of 953 and then a future ADM of 958, and our fiscal year 17-18 budget was built on an ADM of 952. As of December 18th, we had 968. We also gave you information in this packet about our proposed health rate increase of 5%, which will be an increase of $86,160. So Rebecca, is there anything you'd like to say about the documents? And we also have the state template for you in these.
I just wanted to spend a little time looking at that second sheet there right after Melinda's memo.
Can I ask one quick question? The 5% rate increase, that total amount, is that the school board portion?
No, that's the total.
Or would it be the total across the
It would
board?
depend on what the school board intends to do. If they want to
Gotcha.
share
That's-
that increase with
Gotcha.
the employees, or if they want, that's the total.
Total amount. That's what I
65,
wanted.
if we kept, we'll talk about this more
Yeah.
over in there, but 65,000 would be the wood share if we kept everything like it is
Okay,
now.
very good. Thank you.
So on the second sheet, you can see this, the first 3 columns there just compare what we could end up with this current year based on an ADM of 953, and that we could have a potential state loss of 32,959. Now, if we have more children, which we have 968, because it's based on an average, and our budget was built on 952, and as Melinda said, we had 968 in December.
Right after that.
And it is based on an average, so if we had more, we could, potentially have more money.
Right.
But hopefully we would at least end up with what we budgeted and not have this deficit for this year.
Okay.
But we could have a deficit this year.
We are directly under tab 1.
Yeah, and
She-
it
and then there's-
could, it could be
she's missing that
something
sheet.
wrong.
She's missing a sheet.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's swap books
Yes, we can swap.
real quick.
Well, I have
But
written.
that's all right. I'll show her mine.
Okay,
We'll
Okay,
get her
we'll
what she
get,
gets.
okay. We put these together all morning, so we
Okay.
get our.
She has a page after that.
Okay, all right.
Ah, we're just missing that first page.
Okay.
Okay. So you see
Okay.
where we are?
Okay.
So you know that we did have a composite index increase
Right.
from 2.2803 to 0.2981. So, we anticipated that would reduce our state funds. So the second biennium there, the budget that's for the 2018 year, that's based on the new ADM. And you can see that our basic school aid increased by $51,371, so it doesn't look like the composite index affected us that much, but overall our state funds did decrease by $50,962. That's, the composite index. The compensation supplement went away. There are several other categories that decreased, so we do anticipate using an ADM of 958. We anticipate a state revenue shortfall or a decrease of about $50,000 for next year.
958 is what this is based on.
958, that's based on
Okay.
958.
All right.
Now, we could increase that and increase our revenue, and we'd
Okay.
get about $6,000 per child.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right,
And behind that front page is an explanation of how all those different types of basic aid and categories are described, how the formula is developed.
Do you have
They're
this, Ms. Preston?
Mhm.
Yes, I do have that.
Okay.
She's just missing that one page.
Just let us know.
Yeah.
Okay,
What you missed.
thank you.
So this does describe how the state uses this to propose a budget for each school division. And I think there's about 8 pages of those documents.
It describes each line item, and some of those categories, we might not even get that funding, but it describes how every one of them is computed. Then we have the actual state templates, again, for the current fiscal year and for the first year of the next biennium. And the one thing I just want to point out to you, if you look at the second state template, the one that is for 2019 through 2020. You can see it's based on ADM of 958 for the first year of the biennium and 962 for the second year. In that second year of the biennium, not in the first year, but in that second year, about halfway down that first page, you'll see a compensation supplement of $52,809. It's not in next year, but it's in the second year. And if you look on the second page and look under number 13, you'll see that in order to get that $52,000, you have to have implemented a 2% salary increase by December 1 of 2019. So they're doing the same things
like we had in the past.
that they've been doing in the
Okay,
past.
all right. Very
They're
good.
basing that on giving a salary increase. And for us, a 1% salary increase is $85,000. So, 2% doesn't begin to cover, but that's what, in order to get that money,
52,000.
you have to have implemented a salary increase
Right,
by next December.
gotcha, okay. And we've done that in the past, on several different opportunities.
Right.
So that we could get those dollars.
Right.
But there's always strings attached.
Yes, it is. All right.
Then we just have information on the local composite index. And like I said, ours did increase from 0.2803 to 0.2981. And you can see all the localities are represented. But it's the factors that go into that are the true value of property, the adjusted gross income, the taxable retail sales, and the total population. So you can see what all those figures are for the city of
And
Covington.
where were we at before? What was the?
0.2803.